Pandef demands apology from Okowa for responding to Clark's comments. The Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Pandef, has given the governor of Delta State, Okowa, 48 hours to apologize to elder statesman and leader of the group, Chief Edwin Clark, as well as retract and withdraw his recent comments on the Ijaw leader. This was a fallout to Okowa's response to an open letter by Clark asking him to resign as the running mate to the PDP presidential candidate AÞ0Ł0G because he, Okowa, allegedly betrayed the people of the South. In the open letter, Clark also asked Okowa to account for Delta State funds he allegedly used to sponsor the Atiku campaign. In response to the open letter, Okowa's media aides had also accused Clark of looking for relevance and should not be taken seriously. But in a statement on Sunday issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Ken Robinson, Pandef said Okowa should rather respond to the issues raised by Clark rather than releasing his attack dogs on the 96-year-old man enough to be his father or grandfather. Pandef said the last expectation was that Okowa would provide answers to the questions posed, as the demand for accountability and transparency should not be dismissed or disregarded because the funds that come to Delta State are for the benefit of the residents of Delta State. As a regional body that represents the interest of the people of the entire Niger Delta, Pandef is compelled to note that the response on the matter by Okowa's Commissioner for Information, Mr. Charles Aniagu, and the other sycophantic leaguemen are thoughtless and disingenuous. It will even become more worrying if the invectives from the attack dogs signify Governor Okowa's true inner reflections. For the purpose of correction, Okowa's messengers, and to set the record straight for future generations, it is necessary to remind Governor Okowa and his misguided aides of some facts. Without doubt, there is no other Nigerian living or dead who has played roles to unify this country like Chief Edwin Clark has done. It is therefore most unfortunate that Governor Okowa would accuse Chief Edwin Clark of dividing the nation. Our least expectation was that His Excellency would provide answers to the questions posed. Because the funds that come to Delta State are for the people of Delta State, thus the demand for accountability and transparency must not be trivialized or ignored, but should be answered correctly, especially for a man who dreams to become the Vice President of Nigeria. Nonetheless, Pandef gives Governor Okowa 48 hours to retract and withdraw his attacks on Chief Edwin Clark in his own interest, the statement read in part. If we recall, last week, Chief Edwin Clark told Okowa that he should resign, the governor of Delta State. And even before the other statesman released that statement, sent that open letter, we know Nigerians have been complaining. Okowa is the running mate to AÞ0Ł0G. Ever since he was picked as the running mate, we can see that he's not really being on his seat. With everything going on in the state, it's not even his border. We're not talking about the funds that Edwin Clark is even referring to. We're just talking about the running of the state. This is total conflict of interest. It's conflict of interest because that was the same thing that happened to APC. We recall the time when President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Maimala Boni as the caretaker committee chairman. He was a governor, but at that time, Abuja was not his office, and we saw complaints were raised. This is what is going on right now. Okowa is a running mate to AÞ0Ł0G. It's been from one campaign to another. If the people of Delta State are dying, that does not concern him. It's where he's looking at now. That is what concerns him. Anyways, in this report, Pandef is demanding an apology from Okowa because the reason they are demanding this apology is that it's not like the elder statesman abused Okowa or said anything out of place. There were questions he put before Okowa that Okowa should come and make explanation of the funds that are being sent to the state, because the funds released from the federal government is meant for the state, the entire state, not for his presidential ambition, not for campaigning activities. And they are really, really surprised that in response that they've not even addressed those issues. It would have been more good, it would have been better if the response from Okowa is to detail or itemize all of those issues raised and talk about them, give response to those questions that have been asked. But we see the way politics is played in Nigeria. It's not issue based, is attack on attack, counter claims, propaganda and all sorts. That is what is playing out here. And when Okowa replied, the sort of words he used on the 96-year-old man that is old enough to be his grandfather, Pandef, they are not taking it lightly, and they've given him 48 hours to retract his statement and apologize to the elder statesman. Not just apologizing, that those questions are still there, the questions are still alive, that he needs to answer those questions, that all they are demanding that give explanation of what you've done with the funds that are being sent to the state. The funds released to the state are meant to be for the state. If truly he has answers to those questions, I believe that those are the areas he will attend to first, and probably before he will say any other thing. But nothing has been said about those questions asked. Politicians, anytime you hit them and the thing touches them, they try to play the attack game. And because the elder statesman told him to resign, his presidential vice presidential ambition as a running mate to the PDP candidate, and also mentioned that Okowa betrayed the people of the South, that he betrayed the people of the South. The reason being that Okowa, the southern part of the country have been demanding that presidency comes to the South. In all of that, Okowa is aware, but see, he's acting as a running mate to someone from the north, meaning that he's pushing and praying that a northerner rules the country again. Can we see that? Can we see what is going on? So that is where this elder statesman is coming from, that Ifeanyi Okowa is a betrayer. The whole of the South are demanding, after President Muhammadu Buhari must have left. He has done 8 years, so Okowa is telling us that another northerner should come and rule us for another 8 years just because he wants to become vice president. Selfish interest just for himself and himself alone. Politicians will never seem to amaze us. Well, guys, we'll see how all of this plays out. Pandef have set the record straight and asked Ifeanyi Okowa to apologize. Leave us your take, guys. Thank you once again for staying tuned. Please don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe. Till I come your way again on more updates. Bye.